Hi, I'm Nancy Trimble. I'm the LSIM Deacon, and I'm serving at St. Mark's. Well, I'm the eldest of 5 children. I did pretty much the parenting of my siblings as my parents worked most all of their lives. I spent the summers with my Hungarian grandparents because my mother was born in Romania, and I'm a first-generation American on my mother's side. I spent summers with my grandmother going to church and learning how to sew and bake and garden. I have a hobby that's very dear to me. I started to learn how to do stained glass cutting through the Fairborn Adult Education Program quite a number of years ago. I like to make small objects because it's instant gratification. You have something beautiful at the end. I'm currently working on 2 large panels for Abiding Christ Lutheran Church. I find that the expense of this keeps me in the hobby because the equipment needed and the cost of glass can be prohibitive sometimes. The other thing I like to do is read and travel. I'm very interested in other cultures, how other cultures view healthcare and healing. I have a particular interest in Native American life, culture, and religion. I guess the most important person in my life was my mother. We were very, very close, and she was quite spiritual. She had been raised in the Catholic Church, and the second person was her mother and father from Hungary. Their names were Margaret and Imre Vekerdi. And my grandmother, Margaret, really introduced me to church at an early age, even though I attended various churches as we moved, pretty much a little bit of everything. But they helped me understand the faith, and they lived their faith as well. They came here during the Depression and had very difficult but very successful lives, and I always looked up to them. I guess if I was not where I am right now as a called deacon, I likely would still be working in healthcare. I've been a nurse for 48 years, graduating from Ohio State University, and I have a doctorate in nursing. I also am a nurse practitioner. So I find that that brings a lot of joy to my life because I work in geriatrics and end-of-life care, and I worked for hospice before I retired, and I would probably be still working with them because that was a very interesting, challenging, and joyful time in my life. My faith journey has been kind of interesting. My mother thought it was important that the kids attended church and Sunday school no matter where we were. And we were not a military family, by the way. So I attended Congregationalist churches, Lutheran churches, Catholic churches, Methodist churches. Wherever we were, that's where we attended. But I really was impressed in my faith life by attending church with my grandmother. Now, mind you, this was pre-Vatican II when the service was in Latin, and I attended a Hungarian service. So I didn't really know much of what was going on, and so my grandmother translated later on. And as most people, I stopped going to church when I went to college, and when I got married and we had a child, my husband and I returned to church with attendance at a very small Missouri Synod church in Accident, Maryland. And that regrounded my faith. I started the parish nurse program at Abiding Christ because I felt the call to provide health care, education, and advice and support at Abiding Christ. And that's where I started my journey as a deacon, studying with Robin Poling for Associates in Ministry. which then morphed into becoming Deacon. COVID-19 really has thrown things up in the air. Now, mind you, when I started my career, I worked at Ohio State in infectious diseases, so I have been less than panic-stricken through all of this. However, it's really difficult to keep track of the days. It's difficult because we're recording a lot of services and we're doing them out of sync. So here we are sitting Wednesday after Easter, and it seems like Easter was a month ago. My husband and I are getting on each other's nerves a little bit from being at home, but we're still on good ground. And our dog is totally confused as to what is going on.